Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here dropping in on you. Hope everybody has had a great week. I hope that everybody is in a position to close out this year on a very strong and powerful note. But remember what I always tell you, that no matter where you're at, no matter where you're going through, even if things aren't aligning the way that you believe they should, even if it seems that all of your efforts are not producing the results that you desire, if you're still breathing, you are still in the fight. This is Focus Friday, and I am actually going to use this as a very transparent moment. I'm going to give you a little insight into who I am and where I come from and why I believe that you can literally turn your life around. Before I do, I want to point you to the description box where you will find a couple of powerful resources that can help you move into 2024 on a very positive note. Check those out. I've advanced because I've been willing to invest in myself, time, energy, effort, money, all of the above to grow myself. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Now, today is Focus Friday. Look, if you followed me for any time, you have seen me literally produce hours upon hours of information that can be used to help you grow, help you change your life, help you heal. You've maybe even purchased one of my books, took part in one of my courses, and there are some people who will watch this that have actually worked with me in a one-on-one capacity. Regardless, there are literally thousands upon thousands of videos, thousands upon thousands of articles, over 20, I think I'm at 27 books published. And when I say books, I mean full length books. There are a bunch of other shorter publications that I don't classify as full length books, but still are published material that you can get access to. It has been my journey to share with people what I learned over the last 30 plus years that has helped me become the person I am and push me towards the person I am still becoming. But let me give you a little insight into who I am, but also how I came to be where I am. Um, I was born to a 15-year-old mother and an absent father. I was ultimately taken by my great grandparents, my mother's mother's parents. To put perspective on it, my grandmother's parents reared me. My great grandfather was born in 1909. My great grandmother was born in 1917. And so there was this great, I was born in 1967. So there's this great separation in time. So the age difference played a role, but it also put me in the presence of some people who were grounded in the history uh, in a way that ultimately kept them grounded in certain values that seemed to be escaping today's culture. And anyway, I was taught to believe in myself. I was taught that anything I put my mind to, I could accomplish. I was very precocious. I was very precocious as a child. I learned to read through word recognition because my grandmother took the Bible when I was literally 2.5 years old and taught me the creation word for word. So Genesis 1 through 3, I literally memorized and knew it. And she ultimately taught me how to recite it. So by the age of 3, she was taking me around to churches and schools and a lot of different places. And I was reciting the creation. I became known around the greater Houston areas and other places in Louisiana as the little boy who does the creation. So that was the beginning of my speaking career, so to speak. But in doing that, I learned how to read by word recognition because she used the Bible and she pointed to the words. Um, I would develop a strong passion for reading early on. I would read the back of bottles, anything I can get my hand on, I would read. And at age of 5 in 1972, Encyclopedia salesman came by the house. Those of you who are old enough to remember, everything had salesmen coming by, the vacuum cleaner salesman, the milkman, the linen company. They all came by the house, so it wasn't abnormal. But the encyclopedia salesman came by and good morning, Golden. And my grandmother looked at me and saw the look on my face, and she reached inside of her bosom where she kept her extra stash. My grandmother was an owner of her own beauty salon. And so she had a little money. She took it and she paid for it. And eventually it arrived, and it came with a little shelf that my great grandfather put together. And between the ages of 5 and 10, I read every last volume. Um, and I've been reading ever since. I today still read 100 plus books a year. I committed to that 20 years ago, and I do it religiously. I read the Bible from cover to back once a month. And the people who thinking that's not possible, the reason it's impossible to you is because you believe it's impossible. Socrates once said that he who believes he can and who believes he can't is usually both right. Um, and also, it comes down to what you give priority to. I give priority to my personal growth. I give priority to being prepared. I give priority to being capable of doing what I promise people I'm going to do when they choose to work with me. So, in order to do that, I don't get to. Uh, no, it wasn't the Encyclopedia Britannica. It was the World Book Encyclopedia, um, Golden. But I am very committed now. In this, while I'm doing all this, I want to make sure you understand when I say absent father, and this is no shot at my pops, who I never got to meet. The first time I saw my dad was in a casket at his wake and then his funeral. And then I watched every dream, hope, and fantasy that I had about having a relationship with my dad go into that grave as they lowered that casket, never to be realized. And I had to deal with that. But luckily, while I was in high school, I had a journalism teacher. I had a couple of teachers who really truly took to me and saw what they call the genius in me, the brilliance in the way that I thought, in the way that I moved. And outside of my athletic capacity, they saw something uh, more valuable as far as they're concerned. But my journalism teacher was actually married to my football coach, and she passed away a couple of years ago. God rest her soul, Miss Marinelle Williams Leonard, uh, one of the most unbelievably loving and truly committed women I've ever seen work with our people. And she worked with me, and what she asked me to do is, because she literally, her and Coach Leonard spent time with me on the weekends, because they knew the age difference between me and my grandparents meant that I didn't get to do a lot of things that other kids were getting to do with their parents. So they did it with me. They really spent time. She knew the impact that me not knowing my dad and having lost my dad, she knew that impact and what it was having on me. And so she asked me to do some research on absentee fatherhood and to write an article about it. And she wanted to get it published, not only in the school newspaper, but some other places. And I did it, and it was entitled The Invisible Father. And she did. She got it published, not on the school newspaper, in the Forward Times, which was the Black periodical newspaper in the Houston area, but she got it published nationally in a youth magazine. And it was first time being published, in a significant sense. I had written plenty of stuff for the school newspaper, but this was different. And it sort of took off, and, she was excited about it. And ultimately, it became the title for my first book, The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation. I have now, my 27th book is actually the follow-up to that. And it's The Invisible Father Legacy. But in between that first book, that first article and that last book, I went through some things. I lost my great grandfather when I was 25 years old. He is, for me, the epitome of manhood. He is the standard that I still strive to reach. He is the voice of wisdom that poured into me constantly and incessantly, the things, the rules, the principles, the guidelines, the values of manhood. He is who I search when I feel I have fallen short. He is who I celebrate with still today when I feel I've achieved. And I have experienced both a lack of fulfillment in doing what I felt I should have done, and the sense of fulfillment of knowing I hit the mark. It is a part of life. Nobody's perfect. Nobody wins all the time. It's about being consistent and committed. It's about not giving up. It's about yearning to be a better man. I'm often asked, who is my hero? And if I had to have a hero outside of myself, it would be my great grandfather for all he had to endure being the son of a sharecropper, literally having to quit school in the second grade and go out in the fields and work the fields in order to make ends meet, and in being that person with a second grade education who came up and created a career in an environment that was hostile towards him, and took care of his family and raised his children and his grandchildren and his great grandchild. That would be the person. But in essence, I will never be my grandfather. He is he. And so I look up and there are some people I admire. There's Marcus Garvey, there is Carter G. Woodson, there's Amos Wilson, there's Malcolm X, there's Martin Luther King, especially the Martin Luther King in the latter years, the one with the vision that got him killed, that Martin. And there are other bunch of men I admire for who they are and what they do, but none of those men are my heroes. Uh, to me, a hero is something in my mind that I can aspire to. And so when people ask me, who is my hero? My answer is the version of me I see of myself 5 years from now. The man that I become in 5 years is the hero, because I can become that person. I can fulfill that standard. I can live being that, because that's who I was designed to be. But in all of this, what am I getting at? I'm getting, I want you to understand that I can give you all the information that I do on self improvement. I can give you all the information on healing. I can work with you, but the bottom line is you've got to understand something, that building the life you want is a process. It's a journey. It's some ebbs and flows. It's some ups and downs. I've had my back against the wall. I've been to the top of the mountain. I have earned more than I ever thought was possible, and I've lost it and had to rebuild. And I can tell you, in this journey, it is the sanctity of awareness of who I am that has settled me in my most darkest moments. What am I saying? I'm saying that in order to have and to experience, you must become. You must be willing to go through the darkest of moments. You must be willing to go through the difficult times. You must be willing to experience delays and setbacks. I often tell my clients, and when I speak in public, I often say this, is that delay is not denial. Delay is not an indication of denial. Because it isn't happening in your time frame does not mean that it will not happen. A lot of people lose because they quit. A lot of people lose because they give up before the breakthrough. A lot of people lose because they aren't willing to go the distance. This isn't about how smart you are. This isn't about how many resources you have. This isn't about who you know. All those things play a role. All those things have meaning in your life, but that's not how you get there. The biblical analogy, or the biblical reference, is the race is not to the swift nor to the strong, but the one who endures to the end. If we were to break it down and we would put it into normal everyday vernacular, it's simply like this: are you willing to go the distance? Are you willing to finish? Are you willing to put in the work? And when it gets tough, will you stay? That's the question. The question is, how far are you willing to go? What's the distance you are prepared to go? And if you're prepared to go the complete distance, absolutely nothing can stop you. But so you got to understand that it's not always in your timing. You got to understand that a lot of times it's right on the other side of that delay that you're going to experience a massive change, a massive shift, a massive expansion. You are literally trying to get to a place where things literally shift for you in every aspect and area of your life, but it's not going to happen in the quiet corner of comfort. I have never experienced anything of significance in a corner of comfort. It has always been in the midst of adversity, in the midst of darkness, in the midst of disappointment, in the midst of frustration, in the midst of loss, that I've been able to experience extraordinary growth, extraordinary shifts in my life. Why? Because it's in adversity that we plant the seeds of faith. It is in the soil of adversity that you plant the seeds of faith. It's in that moment where things don't seem, that you plant faith, and then faith as a seed takes root. And then you cultivate it by consistently acting upon the faith, even when you can't see it manifesting itself. It's in that. See, faith is the substance of things hoped for. It's the evidence of things not seen. It's with the thing you don't see it, you trust it. See, a lot of us are quitting because we don't see it. A lot of us are quitting because in truth, we haven't yet really truly believed it. A lot of you are being held in check because of your limiting beliefs. See, the one thing that the other teacher that really invested me was my English teacher. And actually, I had came across her. She was my 11th grade English teacher, but I came across her as a freshman, and she took an interest in me because she heard me having a conversation with other students, and it enamored her. And she took me to the side, and she started to follow me, and she would keep up with me. Lord have mercy. She'd be like, "Come here. What are you doing hanging with him?" She see me hanging with one of my buddies from the hood. What are you doing hanging with him? "Oh, that's my friend from." No, 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 no. Let me tell you something. Association brings about assimilation. What was she saying? She was saying what Paul was saying to the church in Corinth when he uh, quoted, uh, I believe it was Epicurus. He quoted. He said, "Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits." What she was telling you, if you hang around him long enough, you're gonna start to act like him. You need to separate yourself because there's something in you that I see, that I want to see manifested in your life. And then she pulled me to the side. "Let me tell you something, son. You are exceptional. You're extraordinary. The word can't will never apply to you." Now, the truth is, I'm not special. I was just exhibiting what my parents had nurtured in me. I saw things differently because I came up a in an environment that took life a lot more serious. And I just kind of moved different, and she saw that. But everybody has this thing inside of them that if they tap into it will produce exceptional and extraordinary things in their lives. And my goal and my life and my passion and my work and my vocation has been to help people tap into this thing that's inside of them that God planted. I have worked with people with Down syndrome. I have worked with people on the autism spectrum. I have worked with people come from extremely impoverished backgrounds. I've worked with people who are wealthy. I have worked with people with learning disorders, and and what I can tell you is I have yet to come in contact with a person that doesn't have a gift. God gifted you. The gift isn't considering your background. The gift doesn't consider your financial upbringing. Your gift does not consider your IQ. Your gift is there because it will make room for you. What does the book say? Proverbs say, your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. In other words, your gift will expand your territory, put you in situations to win, and put you in front of great men who will open other doors for you and give you the keys that you are able to move into places you never thought possible. And everybody has a gift. But this lady saw that. She said, the word can't will never apply to you. And I took that to heart. At the age of 20, almost 21, I launched my first company. At the time, it was called Stay Fit Fitness and Training. As an athlete, people will see you working out in the gym and just automatically assume that you could help them develop and get into the type of shape you're in. And I knew how to train. A lot of times, just training over time, you know how to train. And, your coach is telling you, go to the gym and do this, and do this, or whatever. And I remember saying, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I decided that I was going to go to training. I went and got my master's in biomechanics and kinesiology from Baylor Sports Medicine Institute, and got the first national certification um, that they had. And I started it. That company is still 47 companies later, that company is still active and alive and making money. It's now Master Fitness 21. But it was the beginning of me pursuing my passions. It was the beginning of me finding ways to help people do the best they can in their lives. It was the beginning of me pursuing things. And what I can tell you is I've had some ebbs and flows, some ups and downs, some disappointments and some setbacks. I've had failed marriages. Yeah, more than one, but I still believe in love. I still believe in in the sanctity of marriage at a height that's even greater than before. I still believe in the power to get wealth. I believe that no matter where you start, you can change your life. I believe that you should be waking up every day. One of my consistent mantras every day is no zero days, no excuses. What does no zero days means? It means I can't go to sleep the same person that woke up. That means I've got to engage something that grows me. I got to read something. I've got to have conversations. I've got to seek knowledge. I've got to become better. My passion, my gifting, and my purpose is dependent upon me being better. This is let me explain something to you. I had a conversation with one of my clients earlier this week, and they get it, and I've worked with them. They've been with me for a while. I've worked with them for a while, and they are entering into a new phase, and we're excited about it. And the thing is, and they ask a question, says, "So, do you think I am different than I was this time last year?" They didn't ask better. They said different. Do you think I'm different than I am? Or do you think I've changed or grown? And the answer was absolutely. You can see it. And the reason the question is being asked is because for the person who's growing, they're growing incrementally. They're growing in these little small steps daily. And up close, you can't see the changes. You can't see the evolution. And if you're not able to step back, when you step back, you won't be able to see it. But what happens is if you take these incremental steps of growth, no zero days, no excuses, and you look up a year from now, you will not be the same person. You're going to grow incrementally every day. And you're going to look up and you're going to have 365 incremental steps that you've taken that will literally change your complete perspective and perception of what's going on around you. But you got to be willing to take the small steps every day. Most people in this microwave society want everything to happen now. And when it doesn't happen now, what do? Say, well, this isn't for me. This isn't God's will. No, see, God said, I will withhold no good thing from you. Nothing shall be impossible. And nothing is not a conditional clause. When you read that scripture, there's no conditional clause. It doesn't say nothing should be impossible except. It says nothing should be impossible. Then what are the things that are impossible in our lives? The things that we believe are impossible. It is the limiting beliefs that are holding us back. It is the idea that if it doesn't happen in a set period of time, then it's not meant to be. And we keep tossing the dreams, the aspirations, the plans, the opportunities aside. I have done luxury car leasing, international relocation, fitness, what I do predominantly, which is human transformation and performance. And that goes everything from healing traumatic experiences to establishing and doing exceptional things in your careers and your finances and your relationships, all of that. But I also do publishing. I've been an author, a speaker, um, there's so many different things. And again, there's not this point you get to where everything just flows smoothly. I can tell you though, that there's this point you get to and you just start to move your own almost autopilot, that nothing that gets in your way shakes you. Matter of fact, when I'm closing out my journaling every day, one of the closes that I have, because I journal in multiple journals about multiple things, but one of the closeouts I have in one of my journals is I'm unshakable, I'm unbreakable, I'm unstoppable. Today I win. And it doesn't matter what happens today, I win. I win if the day doesn't destroy me. I've won. No matter how bad it gets, I've won. Last year, this in Thanksgiving of 1992, I lost my great grandfather at the age of 25. It didn't destroy me. I won. In 2005, lost one of my younger sisters and my stepmom, who I loved dearly. It didn't destroy me. I won. In 2012, I lost a brother-in-law, a husband of another one of my sisters, who I've known since my teenage years. 2 weeks later, I lost another sister to a car accident. It didn't destroy me, so I won. I went through so much, and then last year, I lost my marriage. 2 weeks later, I lost my brother, younger brother. Every sibling I've lost is younger than me. Younger brother. It didn't destroy me, so I won. This year, around the same time, moving into the holidays, I'm telling you, holidays have been rough in my life. I lost my mom. This just now, we just buried mom in October. It didn't destroy me. I took the love of that young woman, that 15-year-old woman who birthed me and birthed my siblings after me. And I remember the pride that she had in every accomplishment in my life and the smile that would be on her face. And the one moment that I needed her, I didn't grow up in her home. I grew up being reared by her grandparents. But the one moment that I needed her most, they were gone. She was there, solid. And will forever have that moment. I could easily sit up and look at all the things that went wrong and say, man, life sucks. But it will be because I've decided not to look at the things that are right and be grateful. Everything that I lost blessed me. It grew me. It made me better. It contributed to who I am. And if it's moving out of my life, it's making space for something greater. This isn't taking a shot at anybody. This isn't trying. This is me saying that you've got to look forward. You've got to be willing to understand you're not going to escape this life without challenges, without hurt, without setbacks. You're going to have to be willing to absorb those things and understand that they're not there to destroy you. They're there to refine you, to strengthen you, to develop you, to grow you, to prepare you, to empower you, to go out and do something remarkable. You weren't designed for mediocrity. You weren't designed to be average. You were designed to be exceptional, extraordinary, phenomenal, to be a representation of the designer. With that being said, I'm going to encourage you. Don't go in to 2024 with your head down. Don't go into 2024 conceding that it's just going to be another year of the same old thing. Go into 2024 with your mind made up that you're going to be intentional about your growth. You're going to be intentional about change. You're going to be intentional and deliberate about the things you choose to do and the things you choose to entertain, the people you allow in your circle, the people that you give attention and time to, the energy that you allow to resonate through your body by the way you think and the things you give your focus to. You are way more in control of the outcome of your life than you ever imagined, but you're going to have to be willing to be 100% accountable to yourself, to your vision, to your dreams, to your purpose, to your passion, to your gifting. You are accountable. It's going to be what you do with what you have been given that's going to determine the outcomes of your life. Stop leaning and trusting and looking for outward circumstances and situations to validate what you should be feeling internally. It's not the external things that create the reality. It's what you develop on the inside internally. And it's that thing that will set the state that even when things get shaky, you're not shook. People wonder, how is it that you're in the middle of this? How are you going through this and you're smiling and you're out there doing this and you're out there doing that, and you should just be somewhere trying to lick your wounds? It's because you're looking at the external circumstances. They don't dictate my internal reality. They make me aware of what's going on around me, but they don't. I'm going to feel blessed no matter what happens. I'm going to feel equipped and empowered no matter what happens. I'm going to be the best I can possibly be at every given moment because that's what God designed me to be and to do. Every time there's a dark circumstance, I consult my spirit. And there's something in my spirit that disagrees with that circumstance. And I simply say, I shall overcome it. I'm challenging you to be the best that you can be. Go into 2024 with a different mindset. Take hold of your thoughts, of your aspirations, of your choices. Be mindful of the people in your circle. Remember, evil company corrupts good habits. Association brings about assimilation. Find the people that are where you're trying to go. Find the people with the mindset to get where you want to be. And you need to surround yourself with those people. Be careful of the energy you allow to seep in. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Don't forget that there are some powerful resources in the description box that you can use to ensure you're moving into 2024 on the proper note. A couple of them even involves working with me. Now, granted, working with me is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm worth it. I promise you that. My clients that renew are a testament to that. But whatever you do, you cannot go and expect something different with the same thinking, with the same perspective, with the same outlook. It's time to shift. I encourage you on that. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, you guys have an unbelievable weekend. I'm going to do some dad duty this week, spend some time with the younger one. Most of my kids, thank God, are grown, but I got this younger one. That's my heart, man. And going to do that thing. And maybe next week is probably going to be some pawpaw duty, meaning I'm going to deal with my grandson. But, you know, do what it takes to change your situation. Don't let anybody talk you out of your dream. Don't let anybody talk you out of the thing that you have envisioned for yourself. Don't do it. On that note, I'm out. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day and have an awesome weekend. And if you don't hear from me before then, I'm sure you will. Have an unbelievable and happy